And we are theoretically live here on Plus One Exp question mark. Charlie, say something so I can see if your voice comes through. Can people hear Charlie? Oh, I did see, but that looks like it is audio. Okay, so we're going to come back and I'm going to kick us back over and then pretend like I'm going to come back and fix this later, but I won't. Hold on, let me fix Charlie's audio. I'm just going to open everything up. Okay, there. We've got it. And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. It's been a minute, and I've had to redo my audio setup a couple different times, and it thinks things are in different places than it are. Charlie, say something. Maybe introduce yourself so now that the people can hear you.
Hi. So my name's Charles Ferguson Avery, one half of Feral Indie Studio. I received far too much credit for the start of Zine Month, but now I am simply a participating member of the community. But yeah, I make role-playing games and art.
Awesome. And my name is Tony Vicente. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing designers find great players that love their games, and amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways, but a big part of that has been connected to the zine scene in February, preceding even Zine Month, back into the annals of 5 years ago, when zine crowdfunding really took off. I am also one of the people who really helped. I wasn't even a coordinator or organizer the first year. I came in and was like, what if I ran a workshop and helped other people run workshops? And then that ended up being a big part of what Zine Month was all about. And so joined the coordinating team kind of by that, but had been a part of having conversations with Charlie. A lot of what Zine Month came out of was Kickstarter consistently moving their project, Zine Quest, all over the place, along with, because somebody forgot this and I had to remind them, announcing that they were going all fucking in on AI at the same time. And us getting mad and saying, what if a company didn't own something? And what if we as a community just did that? And Charlie and Alex, and who were some of the other people, Sam and Bella, who helped out that first year really heavily?
There were, and I'm doing a disservice for getting the names, but the amount of people I reached out to in a flurry that day was so like Sam, there was Bella, there was Nuclear Obelisk, there was the Michael Myers who helped run the site. There was it gets to the point where like I am forgetting the amount of people that like came forward and stepped up to make it into what it is. I mean, like for the website, like, you know, that guy, he works for TED Talks, and he just did that on his like, we had done some work in the past together, and he offered to build the site and allow me to like, you know, sort of work it from like, you know, the back end in an easy way because I am not tech savvy in that matter. But everyone did something like that, and because of that, like, it is now sort of like, you know, grown into, I mean, what it is now, 3 years later.
Sam and Nuclear Obelisk ran the Discord server. Sam still runs the Discord server. Richard Ruane and Marco Spicy Tuna and Kyle Tam and other folks came in and also added more global perspective and more diverse perspective on what are some of the needs in that in year two. There's been a lot of growth over what it should be, and that organizing team still exists. And largely now it's like we talk about what do we need to do, what is helpful. Like we have a lot of kind of big picture conversations. In year two, there was a lot of talk about should Kickstarters be allowed or not, because this was started as a separate thing. And a lot of it came down to really want what's best for the community, and kind of consistently coming back to looking at the values that we wanted to create, which are education, democratization, and one other thing that I was just looking at, so I wouldn't forget it in the middle of talking about it. But kind of our three values, which are listed if you go to ttrpg.link, which everybody's going to watch me do right now because that's the wrong web browser. ttrpg.link slash Zemo25. That'll take you to the current official, in quotation marks, because we just were like, hey, who's doing it? Cool, we'll make that the official one. The official Zemo website, hosted by Luke, who's doing a great job. I just met with them to talk through kind of what is happening this year with the website. What are the needs? What are things we needed to clarify for them? Other things like that. Man, hopefully that's, oh, I did 24. That's why. But to talk about kind of what it needs to be. And a big part of it was like, even when we were organizing it, Feral Indie Studios wasn't organizing it, Plus One wasn't organizing it, and still aren't, even though there's a lot of the support that comes from those structures. It's not owned by either of those things. Like Charlie and Alex and Tony and people in a community were having a conversation and running this together. So education, demonopolization, so moving away from that kind of corporate ownership and it only happening in one location, and democratization, that this should be a global community and everybody should have a fair opportunity to approach their ideas. So Zine Month contains Zine Quest, and this year BackerKit has created a tag that I'll be adminning that allows you to then go to all the projects for Zine Month and people can submit to that, right? So that was a way that I stepped in this year to help out in a new way so we could have it on another platform. People are using Itch. Last year, Adam Voss hosted an Itch Jam so that there was a place to aggregate all the Itch projects that were Zemo projects. This year, no one's hosting that jam yet. If you're out there watching and want to host that jam, let us know. We're happy to help make it happen, and get it listed. Crowdfunder runs tabletop nonstop during the month, right? There's all these different ways that it's happening, but Zine Month is kind of the way we said, hey, how are we as a community owning this so that no matter what platform someone's running on, no matter where someone's stepping into the process, that there's fair and equitable ways for them to pick the best platform for their project, but also to learn and grow in community. So a lot of that happens in the Discord. A lot of that happens in a lot of different ways. But a lot of what you may notice we're trying to say is you don't have to ask Charlie or Tony what you want to do for this month. ttrpg.link /Zemo25, which maybe I'll drop it in the thing if I get a chance to in a second, if it's working. ttrpg /Zemo25. Let's see if that worked. I don't know. The Streamlabs is being weird. It went to Facebook. I don't know. Yeah, and it is like no one's in charge. Like Matt's in the chat saying, what we were just talking about right before we went live, because you can tell we plan these things out well in advance, is like what the organizing team should do is tackle bigger projects, advocate for the needs of the community as they are voiced, and look for ways that we can continue to reinforce those values. So like Plus One's platform will always take on education, right? Like how we can do some workshops. We've got a new lineup this year. A lot of it we've learned from Zine.Club and working with new creators, but also it's the things that consistently come up in the community or might have changed wildly over the last 3 years. Like there are new crowdfunding and distribution and printing platforms out there. Like there are a lot of new tools and resources that you can use to do your project. We want to continue to bring those to the forefront and have resources and tools for you to share. Charlie knocked out a new logo, right, for us. Alex has done the first few years. Charlie stepped in this year and made us a great, beautiful new Zine Month, really great soft pastels that I'm really loving, like great color scheme. Luke stepped in to start organizing the page, but like when people were like, we want to do backer kit, how do we get backer kit engaged with us? Somebody from the community was like, I mean, I'm happy to talk to them. Somebody just connected us via email and we picked it up and they're like, we need you to create a project. So I am doing a Zine Month backer quest project. Here's what it is. I think it's $100 funding goal. It's a $10 pledge level. And if you want to support the resources and content we're making as Plus One, please do. We have stretch goals that basically just let us pay the people who are coming to do the workshops more money, right? Like we're going to do the workshops no matter what. This is to help subsidize other professionals coming in and giving their time to the community. And we needed a project on BackerKit to do it. So that's what we're doing. You can't go follow it yet because not super worried about funding, but it'll be there. And that way, if you want to do it and we want to do more, great. That's a thing that's going to happen. But for the most part, we're just here to support people. So like for us, we're going to really own that education piece, right? The demonopolization piece comes from like really just not letting people own this, right? And Charlie, I think I'm going to kick it to you so that I'm not the only one talking, but also like, I think this is a big part of your vision for like what got you so upset, right? Was Kickstarter owning this? And I think this really came out of like what you wanted to see. Can you talk a little bit about like creating additional avenues for project funding and kind of what your hopes would be that people would become aware of or take a look at in that area?
Yeah, fair. I'm also realizing I think like this is the first time I've like truly publicly like in a recorded manner like spoken about the like history of how Zemo kind of like came to be, and it was to be fair very reactionary. Zine Quest was a thing that was happening every year. It was always happening in February, and then sort of on the whim of the folks in charge at Kickstarter, that immediately changed. For myself, there was some financial incentive there of like, well, it has to happen February because we had all this stuff planned for February. And I wasn't alone. There were, loads of other people that this was sort of something they had kind of integrated into their, their schedules. This is how they create. This is how they work.
And let's point out, it was December when they were like, never mind, we're not doing this. Also, AI rocks.
Yes, and then that was the follow-up. Perhaps the more egregious part of it was the fact that they were doubling down on AI. And it seems to have since changed, but I still keep I keep a bit of a distance from Kickstarter at this point. But Zemo sort of like, came from that, where it was with one company in charge of like an event like this, it becomes a product. It becomes something that is at the whim of that company. And that's not something that like all of us creators who are, to be fair, giving our money to this company should be beholden to. So while it started with very like strong anti-Kickstarter sentiments and as a reaction to creating our own space within Zine Quest, it has now kind of like morphed into, well, now we are an event, which I think is kind of the best part. This is not a product. This is not a thing that is, controlled by a singular company, demonopolized. It is an event that's run by the community. And I think that there is a lot of strength in that, and the fact that it's decentralized. It weirdly, just as like kind of a weird comment that I was having a conversation with, I believe, might have been like Sam a couple of years ago, that with the Discord group, we are kind of just moving back into old internet message boards. In the sort of like this kind of like idealized version of, which may or may not be like the idealized version of like how do healthy and holistic like communities online exist, and we're figuring it out, to be fair. But I think with Zemo, this, I dig it.
Yeah, and then so democratization, right? The fact that we are not like the RPG industry, like so many other things, heavily favors, straight white voices that live in the north part of the northern hemisphere of the globe. People in the south are geographically locked out. There's not as many tools and resources, right? So looking at how we can start to more and more democratize the tools and resources and other things happening in our community, and the education is a huge part of that, right? But saying like, hey, platforms like Crowdfunder, while they may not have the reach of BackerKit or of Kickstarter, they aren't geo-locked anywhere, right? It's one of the main reasons we love having them as a partner, like whatever that means. Like as much as we have them, like to have them officially and intentionally run something in Zine Month for Zine Month, that they put the tags for Zine Month on their thing. Like they're not geographically locked out anywhere in the world. You can always use them. And that's a great tool and resource to have. It is very similar, right? The ability to start highlighting and pushing forward tools that support that is a huge part of that. And then how do we connect people from different parts of the globe to work together to do this thing? So having an organizing community and accessible spaces that can do that is huge. I do think, there's things we're going to have to tackle over the next little bit. Like because we do want to create guidelines without killing things, but things like, hey, like what's the Zine Month stance on AI? That's probably a significant conversation that will be had between now and next year. And let me tell you this, knowing the organizing team, yeah, Zine Month is an anti-AI thing. Like that's going to be a thing where we will probably start to create guardrails specifically around. Like I can't see anybody being a huge advocate or even remote advocate for that on our organizing team. Is that bad of us? I don't know. Who cares? But the other things are like, how do we protect our creative community against bigots and fascists and other things like that? So like we have to start thinking about those things because we know they are things that matter to the community. And that's what we want to spend our Zine Month focused on talking about internally, while just supporting a whole bunch of radical, amazing like zines and other stuff like that. Better than the innies. Maybe that's what brings it freshly into mind, is thinking about the innie policy. And while
we can't get into that right now. We can't get into that
understanding
right now.
some of it, yeah. Also being like, well, cool. So you're saying people might break the rules? Sounds like you should just have rules instead. Anyways, yeah, talk about that to us at Gen Con. So those are things we need to start thinking about and leaning into. But that's really where the organizing team, like in our mind, like that's where we live. It's also not a group that is super insular. Like if you're like, I would love to be a part of that, right? Like talk to us, reach out to us. Or if you're just like, I want to own this little piece of it. I want to host the Itch Jam. I want to host the website. I want to help admin the BackerKit thing. All those types of things. CD, if you have a new idea, you don't need our permission. Just go do it. If you want our support, just tag someone. Usually Sam or I are the best people to tag. Sam will get a pretty quick Discord response, and if they're not responsible, we'll tag somebody else. I will also typically respond pretty directly, and you can direct message me if you want to. Uh, we want to be responsive, but like if you have an idea, all we want to do is offer support. We don't want to offer permission or not permission. We would rather create those big guidelines and say these are the bad things we're not doing as a community. Go nuts beyond that.
Mhm.
So I also told people if they have questions, they can ask them. So this is a good time to start queuing up questions if you have them about the history of Zine Month, the current state of Zine Month, our hopes, our desires, other things like that. I did have some people pop some in. Are they big picture things? No, but Charlie and I are here, and so we're gonna answer some questions that people popped up. Let me go over to the Zine Month server and do the thing. So we've got this is a good one for you, Charlie. From Jared Leopold, we've got how the heck do folks get such slick presentation of their products on their page when they haven't raised any money yet? I'm going to assume this means art and mock-ups and other stuff like that. Do you have any good tools or resources for making good-looking things on a budget?
Oh my God, I do. I'm blanking on the name of the creator, and it just recently popped up. But there are, if you go on to Itch, and this might be something that I will do. A bunch of people have, specifically graphic designers, have put in the work to creating templates for these scenes. There's there's a one Morkborg one that specifically springs to mind, but you can use it for things other than Morkborg. And then I believe, oh my God, he's kind of a big name. As big a name as we can be. I'll find it, but he put together this incredible zine template that is, you pay for the template and you are free to use it to, within parameters. It's all on the itch page. That is something that I'm going to compile together. Because I think the tools are there for you to use as far as creating a very slick presentation of a, I don't like using the word product, but if you are selling it as a product, so the way people create that is, one, some of them are graphic designers and artists. Two, they are using tools and resources that are already there. Or three, they go out and find an artist and work with them on their know-how. So yeah, that's my answer. I mean, the way I do it is because I do it for a living, but
Yeah. And there are a lot of folks out there, and there are platforms I don't like that nevertheless exist. There are resources like Fiverr, which I think is a race to the bottom and filled with a lot of stolen art. But if you need something like a cheap, inexpensive, someone's going to take your PDF and lay it out, you can find stuff like that for $5 or $10 oftentimes on resources like Fiverr or Upworks or other things like that.
Yeah.
Just don't support scummy people.
And I believe it was last year, we did a presentation on a workshop on art direction, or if not a workshop, at least there is a YouTube video of me describing how you can ethically source Creative Commons artwork.
We have I think it was 2 years ago, because we both basically took the year off by and large.
I know
year.
I did.
But we're back in the saddle again this year. So there are a bunch of templates out there in Vault Yarns. I have links turned off because of bad people who drop into its chat. Saying the name of the thing should be enough. We didn't take a year off Zemo. We took a year off doing extra stuff for Zemo, just because neither of us was in a good place. We were still very much here. There's a lot of great resources like that. Also, if you pop it out, you'll oftentimes find people. Also, lots of times, well-known or other more established creators during Zine Month will offer out help, and no one will take them up on it. I know Chris Cassette's offered to do covers for zines for people in the past for Zine.Club. I know that I typically offer out things, and sometimes we offer out paid services. I will be offering out some RP, if you want me to do an hour-long consultation on your crowdfunding page and give you some do a meeting with you, do some extensive notes, and give you kind of an overhaul of your page. I'm going to be doing some stuff like that. as like a paid service. I'll also just still be doing zine roundups and talking about a lot of pages. And there's a ton of them in the past that you can just go access for free also too, right? So, but most of us, even when we're charging money for stuff like that, we're doing like, hey, this is way less than we would normally take. Like we are just trying to be conscious of our time, right? It's like, so there's some things like that that you'll see, but a lot of them are like, hey, I'm happy to do some editing for free for a first time creator, or I'm looking for to partner with somebody. I want to do art. I don't write, right? So like looking for people who are making those offers and taking them seriously and not thinking that's great for someone else. It's not for me. It is for you. Like do it. Take them up on those offers. Take people up on promotional offers. Phil Reed is talking about a Zine Quest project that is interviewing a different Zine Month creator every single day because it will then promote their project during Zine Month and is scheduling things out for that right now over in the RPGZine group over on Facebook. Phil's also on Discord, but spends a lot more time on Facebook from what I understand. So like pop over there if you want to. And if you're off Meta Products, like great, like email Phil Reed. He's very findable on the internet. So um, let's let's look at the other question. I'm going to take some questions from the chat that I got. The other question was, oh, and there's more people typing right now.
Oh, damn.
Where is the best place to find backers outside of your own network? I've tried to leverage my own network, as people say, but everyone either seems to not have enough money or not be interested. I try to make things that are interesting for them, but maybe I just don't have good ideas that people want to support. So Charlie, I'll kick it back to you first. What is your go-to place for like trying to help people find for finding backers outside of your own normal network?
Well, to be fair, like this is something that I've been consistently doing for now I realize it's been a decade. So, when I reach out to people, like these are, it's not just like one singular network that I've built. These are networks that I have, I've reached out, I've been a part of, I've contributed to, and, now I like sort of like, can sort of reach out to and know where to look. So I can't give advice on where to look specifically, especially if you are starting out. This is something that like is going to be a process. If you are trying to build community, if you are, intentionally and you are trying to find networks, Clayton, that's the guy who built the template.
I mean, I knew it, and I wasn't gonna help you.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Clayton. Clayton Nostein built the templates, and I will link to those because they are incredible. But back to the question. This is something that is going to take time, and if you are, if you want to be a creator, you create, and getting funding is especially nowadays with like for a lot of reasons is difficult. Everybody's feeling the crunch, like, I'm no different. But building your network is something that happens over time. And it's something that happens a lot of times without pay, without money. I had a day job for, I believe, 5-6 years. And I did this because I liked doing it. Now I do it full time, and like I'm very fortunate in that. But yeah, it's not a fun answer, but it is one of those things of like it takes time. Keep making, keep building, and keep looking with intent, and you will find it.
Yeah. A couple of like quick, easy things also too, like as far as some practicals go, because like it's hard sometimes when you live in it, like Charlie's talking about, to like think through it. Because we coach beginners all the time, like we've got a pretty established process for places you can go, and some of these are going to depend on where you're at and what you do. If you access the dark arts of Reddit, there are a number of subreddits out there. Some of them like RPG Promotions. It's literally designed for RPG promotions. I think the promotion-oriented ones are good places to post. They're going to be very friendly. You're not necessarily going to get a lot of traction because there's a lot of other people there trying to sell their thing, not buy your thing. But a lot of them have rules about when, how, and what you should do to promote. And I usually, when I'm going to post in Reddit, will get my friends and family, even ones who aren't necessarily going to back my thing, ready if they have access to it to go upvote it very quickly in the places that I'm doing and I'll let them know what those places are as I'm going to help draw some more eyes to those. But I would say the Zemo Discord server is a good place to promote it. Like a lot of times, like I used to basically say like, hey, I do Zemo projects to support the number of zines I will back during Zemo. Like I'm not making any money here. I'm going to print a product and not lose money on what I'm backing other places. The other places to look are RPG Zines group on Facebook, the Creative Indie RPG group on Facebook. The beggars community can be kind of hit or miss as far as self promotion goes. Be intentional about, again, how you're choosing to self promote in any group. And there's a lot of RPG groups on Facebook and on Reddit that are specifically for specific types of systems or genres. Like if you're a Mothership creator, you should be over on the Mothership Discord server. If you're doing a Mothership project, if you're doing Merkborg, you should be on the Merkborg third-party creators Discord. If you're not, the Brain Trust Discord, the Zemo Discord, the Plus One Exp Discord, the Gym Room Games Discord, the Read the Fucking Manual Discord. I'm not going to repeat all those. Go back and watch the video again. Boost my views, baby.
Yeah.
Are all great places to go share your work and get feedback as well as capture eyes. The last thing I'll say is same thing. Look to the left of you, look to the right of you. Are there other people funding zines? Can you cross promote each other's projects? You don't want to do it a ton, but you can do it some, and that's a great way to do it. Lastly, make a press kit. It's the first workshop we ever did for Zine Month. It's what started the entire education process. It gets shouted out a lot. You sickos love a design, a press kit video. Go watch it. It has some basic information on how to build a press kit, a template that's attached, and some people who I would send it to. Lastly, the Rascals website, I want to give a real strong shout out to. If you have an account, paid or not, you can create an announcement that will put out the information you put in for your thing. And then you can say, look, like it's on Rascal. And they're okay with that because it is on Rascal. But they will make an announcement. It'll make an announcement article to their people who follow them about your project. So like it's another easy go-to place. Otherwise, I'd reach out to InWorld and Polygon with my press kit at least. And maybe you'll get a response. Maybe you won't. But those are some of the kind of the base things I would look at for just leveraging beyond your own network, right?
Yeah, I'm going to second big shout out to Rascal News and Linda Codega in particular. Like,
I mean, I like Rowan and Chase also too. But if you
yeah,
really
oh yeah,
like
no,
one,
everyone,
it's
everyone.
like
To be
one.
fair, I just like,
and then somebody said, "What's planned for Zemo this year?" I don't have the exact dates yet, though we are looking at Wednesdays starting in February, and we haven't nailed down all the people we're going to have do it. Though we do have a list of names. The topics we are going to cover over 5 weeks are going to be layout for PDF and print. So we're going to talk about the base things you need to know about layout, specifically for the differences between digital and physical, how you should do those things, how you should prep those things. And we're going to look at a few different print options that have changed over the last few years to talk about what's going to work best. We are working on having somebody from the comic books print world come and work with us also on that specifically, that I'm very excited if they're able to join us. One that I've titled Sin Eating for Fun and Profit, shipping and logistics at home. So we are now resetting all of our fulfillment and distribution for Plus One through my basement. So the rest of this room around me, along with some local on-site storage, just because our previous warehouse situation was no longer working. We're going to talk about what specific tools and resources we're accessing, as well as, depending on your budget level, what you may want to look like if you're shipping your zines. We're going to do an update shipping and logistics one. Art direction on a budget, kind of like the one that we had done, but we're going to have Wes, our art director, Johnny, and another special guest who we're really excited about join us for that one. Networking and marketing, networking versus marketing. So what's the difference between networking and what's the difference between marketing, and kind of how you build a team and get the word out specifically. And then we have one that's just called Doing the Work. We're going to invite some of the most prolific creators we know, people who consistently turn out like intense amount of work, that it's really impressive, and talk to them about how they get the work done that they are working on. So those are the things we're going to do as far as the education side of things go this year. We'll have a full schedule of that coming up, but those are kind of our plans for right now. We're gonna have some promo streams also too, some roundups, some other stuff like that. We'll be bringing some other special guests on, but those are kind of the educational lineup. That's what we're looking at. If other people do workshops, that's great. Please let us know. We'll add them to the Zine Month playlist, the official one. They do not have to be on the Plus One channel to be valid. And there's a ton of people out there now doing promotional work. Like when Zine Quest was happening, I at one point streamed 26 times over 24 days to cover as many Zine Month projects as I could, and still left a lot of them untouched. I never did that again. But that was a thing I did. It was a thing I did when we all lived at home and didn't go anywhere.
Okay, fair.
So there's a lot of great stuff like that coming up this year, because that's Mix Up Pixels asked what's the plan for this year's Zine Month. Otherwise, it starts February 1st. I think it'll be weird if you honestly, it'd be weird if you launch on the 1st. If you want to, I'm not going to stop you. The 5th, I think, or whatever that first Tuesday is a better time to pick. But also, the other thing is we're not cops, and so if you launch on the 28th, 29th, 30th, everybody's horny to back a zine, and Zine Quest hasn't started yet. But Zine Month, baby, like, we're not cops. We're not going to be like, no, it can't be a project. We're just going to be like, you're sneaky, you. And everybody on the 30th is like, I got to back a zine right now. They're itchy for it. So just keep that in mind as you go. So I have not a lot to learn about. It's just not the best short-term memory to highlights of these streams or their contents get put somewhere. The VODs all stay up. All of our stuff goes to YouTube. You can watch it there as often as you like. We try to do transcripting, and this year, one of our stretch goals for the crowdfunding project we're doing on BackerKit will be paying somebody to make transcriptions of everything and do highlighted content more effectively. So that is one of our goals over there, John wants to know any good print alternatives to Mac mix them. We're gonna cover those in one of the workshops. Some of these I am gonna just kick to workshops. What are some good ways to promote now due to the max exodus of Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram? We kind of already covered that. Matt, I do believe in letting you fly or fail on your own. I believe this is in response to me not telling Charlie the name of Clayton's name, even though I knew it.
Yeah,
because I'm just a jerk. Still trying to balance creative endeavors. Yeah. It's a real challenge to figure out how to make everything happen that you need to make all this stuff work. Be careful on Reddit, because people there are jerks and will pop back on you. That is good feedback. Let's see. Charlie, I'm going to kick it to you. While I go through these and make sure there's anything we need to respond to specifically, what is a project you are most excited for this Zine Month coming up?
So I'm going to mention two things. I was checking through first off, I want to say I was checking through the Zine Month 2025 list. I actually have it right here. And there's already over a dozen projects announced, all through some people I know, some new faces. So one I'm going to quickly mention that just sort of caught my eye. It's by Aether Corps. So I like a lot of the stuff they put out, but it's called the Field Agent Handbook Observancy Department. It's a series of LARPs and solo RPGs. And I'll admit, I think I'm just also just taken by the graphic design of the old school field notes. And I don't mean field notes like the company, but actual the forestry department.
Before field notes were a product, they were field notes.
Yeah, actual. But then the other big one I want to mention, and admittedly I am associated with it, is a project that I just finished called Sooty Beards. It is written by John Gregory and Furtive Goblin. It is all about a dwarven village in the style of a dying Appalachian mining town. I did the art and layout for it. It has some of the most fun creative writing. They created a world without piles of text. Instead, they created a world through the descriptions of what people say about it, the items that are found in it, and the locations. It is fun. It is weird. It is the term that we keep bouncing around is grim whimsy. And admittedly, like, and I'll go ahead and say it, like, John and Furtive do some of my favorite role-playing game writing, and that is admittedly because they are my friends and I love working with them. And I would love to see that project in as many people's hands as possible, because it is fun, it is weird, it is dark, but also incredibly funny. And I'm very proud of the illustrations I did for it too, to be fair. But yeah, so that's called Sooty Beards, and that will be coming out soon.
So yeah, there's a big disclaimer that should happen that we are also the publisher.
Yeah. That's so, it's a little incestuous, but
it is. So also, there's a great conversation yesterday that happened on Blue Sky where we're trying to figure out if there's a better word for the term dev cuck, because they tried to list me as a developer on the project, and I was like, the guy who enjoys watching you make a thing should not be listed as a game developer.
Yeah.
And so I said, what's the term for game development cuck? Somebody just
a producer. There's a term. It's producer.
So producer's fine. Supervisor actually very technically correct, but I think we ended up with dev sicko as the term that we were. Yeah, because really that team has been really easy to work with, really great to work with. Charlie has done some really visually cool things. There are felt figurines happening. None of it will be on a crowdfunding platform, so it'll all be through the Plus One Exp website. We'll have a link up for it soon, and there's an additional Troika zine that's going to pop out of that. Also, too, and I believe a beard oil, because that's what everybody's waiting for during Zine Month. Also, too, so it'll be a fun project that we'll have going all February long. Just kind of see where it goes, and then there's a couple like little light stretch goals depending on pre-sales, but no additional content, just cool stuff that we're gonna kind of continue to add in as we go. So that one's super fun. Also, yes, the Goat's Head, if you do a Zine Month project, you will be as handsome and wise as us, but you do need to go buy that beard oil also too. So I am really excited, and I tried to set it up earlier, but I don't know that my overlays are quite working, and there's some sort of update that happened that makes it very hard to work with them live. Oh yeah, we've disappeared here. Hold on. No, I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna pop it up if I can. Can I? No. Can I get it to move? There we go. All right, because I'm gonna mispronounce the name, and I've said this so far, and our pictures aren't showing for some reason, but that's fine. Fukuzatsu or Torrid Poker. It is a Baltro-inspired card game where you physically destroy your own cards and the other players. I think you just destroy them, but not physically. But yeah, I helped workshop that line, and it's good. 2 to 4 players face off against each other, playing tarot cards for special synergies while physically maiming their opponent's cards, cutting their opponent's cards when using sword tarot, or changing your own cards into aces using wands. Then you take your broken and bruised decks to play another game, modifying it more and more until you have the perfect deck. I am so excited.
I like the sound of that.
The visuals are also looking really strong, and it's a really creative thing. I did do like a little bit of stretch goal, and this is another thing. Neon Rot, I got connected with them because at one point they asked me to do some stretch goal writing, and my question was, how much is it? Is it paid or is it free? And they said, well, it was supposed to just be free. They said, and it's like, maybe a half a page max. And I said, oh, absolutely. I'm happy to spend 15 to 20 minutes. If you have a couple samples that you can send me, reading it and writing something for you, sending it back. And I got to write a weird sphincter room in a giant living spaceship for them. But that's how we got connected. That's how they originally came across my radar as a creator. But it's because they asked, and I said yes, because it was a really easy ask, really enjoyable thing to do for one of their previous Zine Month projects. But they posted it in the server the other day. I looked at it. I fell in love with it. I'm really excited about the idea of it. I can't wait to back it. So that's the one I'm going to call out. And then I am actually doing a Zine Quest project, Zine Quest proper. This year, Keegan is doing their first Kickstarter crowdfunding, and I did enough writing that they gave me a code title credit. Plus One will be helping produce that. We've got some other ones we're doing. A lot of creators who are supporting through distribution or other things like that. So we do have a lot of pans in the fire this year, as opposed to last year. But it's been really cool to see different designers who we've worked with through Zine Club now starting to do more stuff and be able to take some of the processes and teams we've given them and start building things on their own, more on their own for Zine Month, and just be able to support them through that process as a publishing partner. So really cool and really excited to see that. And the fact that it's living outside of us having to own it, but we still get to touch it, is a huge part of what Plus One is all about. But again, it's a huge part of what Zine Month was all about. Like Charlie and I really exist here. Sam is in there. Like the organizing team is here to support what you want to do. You can tell us the bandwidth we have might be like, that's a great idea. We can absolutely share that with people as you do it. But the reality is we can't necessarily take all that stuff on. So if you have a great idea, be prepared for us to say that rocks. Are you going to take it on? Right? Yes. Because that's really what we need to see happening for things to really kind of continue to grow and for the community to really own it, right? Because that is the goal. Like, it's not for Charlie or I do. I think that you'll still see for the next couple of years, like us probably hop on at the beginning just to encourage people and talk about things, but like, stop asking us if you can do stuff, because like this belongs to all of us. And we're just here to participate and support. And if there's a bigger issue, work with the other organizing team members on discussing it, arguing about it sometimes for hours, and then talking about what is best for the community based on who we are. So it's absolutely great. There are a couple important questions. What if you don't have a beard? I mean, I could just say grow one, though that is not an option for everybody. But I will also say most beard oils and balms make a great aftershave lotion. They make great skin soothers. They're great for like split ends or treating your cuticles. I'm just saying, there's a lot of great uses for most beard care products also too. And so,
fair enough.
Somebody's got a great story. My aunt accidentally bought. This is Adrian. My aunt accidentally bought some of the balm for Bridgetown campaign. She found it an excellent moisturizers for elbows and eyebrows. That's true. Yeah. Anybody who's not in the Discord who's watching this, feel free, hit me up. I am sometimes not even one step away. Sometimes I'm only half a step away or standing on the edge of a full blown medicine show for my beard oil. Yeah. So if that's, let me one last check of the Discord and then we're going to get out of here. Charlie, if people want to follow the work you're doing, given the disturbed state of everything, where is the best place for them to look currently?
I will say that I am still, I'm going to say this, let me pull up my links. For the time being, I am still on Instagram. That will, I will likely be changing that in the future. I have already navigated away from Twitter, and I have no intentions of returning to that. But as far as social media is concerned, you can find me at Blue Sky. My username is Feral Charlie, all one word at bluesky.social. And in addition to that, we have a website, feralindystudio.com. We sell, I believe we have like most of our products there. We're working on putting together a blog. You can find our itch. That's also under Feral Indie Studio. And I think that's pretty much everywhere that I'm at. Aside from that, if you find me at a convention, I'm more than happy to chat and talk so long as I have the time. But you have to catch me. That's the rule.
That is, and Charlie will run.
But you could. But no, I'm always happy to chat. I'm always happy to, if you have my email address, like send me an email. I'll get to it when I get to it.
Sam says we have to push Ave Nox. Charlie just released Ave Nox. They've gone out to
really
backers.
Really.
It's great. And if you wait till the middle of Zine Month, it'll be up on the Plus One site, available for purchase also too, along with it's going out to a number of other distributors. It's a great mega dungeon. And Charlie, I've said this to Charlie in person, and I'm going to embarrass them by saying it to you. I think Charlie does a better job of writing dungeons than almost anybody else, and it's because of the perspective they have, particularly as an art historian, of the things that people make that are left behind when that society no longer exists. And I think that gives Charlie a phenomenal insight into creating, plus the ability to make great words and great art also too.
That is far too much credit than I deserve, and I don't say that. I don't say that trying to be shy and bashful. That it like there. Anyway, I will say with Ave Nox, there are like do some international shipping. I'm still trying to. Some people didn't get theirs that I'm pinning down. We're working through that. Thankfully, I think it's just down to like 2 or 3 people that I am trying to get these packages into very specific countries with very specific mail issues. But for the record, so if anybody listening, you haven't received it yet, we're working on it. It's been a bit of a process. But
Also,
that
anybody
being
who's
said,
like, these people actually seem like they're friends in the chat and like Charlie, it's because we are. And we do work together also too, but we also enjoy each other. And if it seems like there's a lot of inside jokes, that's not to make you feel like an outsider. There is no reason in having role models or heroes or other people whose work you like in the scene. And if you don't like us, then, you know, tell me to fuck off. That's fine. But if you are like, oh man, I could never have that kind of relationship, like we all just started as people trying to make our first thing. Like we all formed friendships and went after stuff. We all literally enjoy working with each other, and there's no reason to have heroes, role models, or people you look up to in a field if they can't also eventually be your friends, because they're not fucking worth it if that's not the case. You know, not everybody has to get along, but like they should not be so sealed off from you, and if they are, they're not worth respecting as a creator, in my opinion. And that's one of my favorite things about the Zemo community and the RPG community in general. But yeah, the first time somebody compliments you just like I did to Charlie, it means a lot, and you're gonna get a lot of that in Zine Mo. And so like you're gonna see a lot of those. Matt in the chat was just talking about looking to promote people. I know many-sided media promote people. We're gonna be doing roundups on Plus One. There's a new somebody who just joined our server who's doing this like rooms. Rooms is a big part of the name of their RPG. They're doing a Kickstarter, this Zine Quest. They've been reviewing people. Daiku is going to be reviewing people. There's all kinds of people out there looking to review people and to cover things and other things like that. And also remember, because it's been a big conversation recently, there's a big difference between journalism and marketing. And people who do journalism are much harder to get to cover your game than people who do marketing. And if you don't know what those people are, Chase wrote a great article about it on Rascal. Pay $1 to go see it. The last thing I'm going to shout out, and then I'll let Charlie have the final word, is we will be bringing back, and this is a great thing to remember, a thing we do called $28 in 28 days. You might be thinking, but I want to support other creators financially, and I don't have money. Here's what I would encourage you to do. Pick a couple zines you want to back, if you want to back any zines at all. But spending $1 a day on other backers, like that $1 pledge, especially if they're on a platform like BackerKit or Kickstarter, when you back them, it's going to let people who follow you know that you backed them. A lot of people follow me. A lot of people follow other people. So backing people for $1, it boosts people in the weird algorithmic rankings that a lot of these things happen. It shows that creator some form of support. It shows people who are following you that you backed them, and then you have the option to share that campaign on social afterwards. If you can't afford $1 a day, consider just sharing the campaign. If you can't back, sharing is the number one thing you can do to encourage people to go support a creator. So sharing 28 projects over 28 days, just being a community that is generous with each other when it comes to sharing and promotions and things you're genuinely excited about is huge. So consider the fact that small investments can have a really large cumulative effect. I will say this also, a lot of people think Zine Month is the best time to launch their project because so many Zine Month projects succeed. And a lot of them succeed because their funding goals are really low. And so they're really easy to meet. And some of those really struggle to get out because their funding goal was too low. Pick the right time and the right place to launch your project. If this month isn't it, that's fine. Normally and historically on Kickstarter, when it was the only platform, about 300 to 400 games a month would launch. During Zine Month, we oftentimes see more than that many just RPG projects, 700 to 800 total projects during the course of a month. That's a lot on all the platforms and a lot of things clamoring for attention at the same time. So if this isn't the right time, wait a month or two. You know, if you're not ready, you don't have to rush it. Don't let FOMO convince you to make a wrong choice because late stage capitalism is horrible and eating off our brains.
Yeah.
Charlie, what you got? Close this
All
out.
right. So I have three small things to say. One small little promotion thing. I am one project that I forgot to give a shout out to is called Hit the Road Jack. It is by Arena Games. They commissioned me to do a Major Arcana tarot deck for it. It is a solo journaling game in the style of the original Mad Max film, Road Warrior. I'm having a great time doing the art for that. I'm very much looking forward to seeing that like kickstarted and fulfilled and being able to like follow through with that. Also, the writing for it is wonderful. If you check it out, it's called Hit the Road Jack, and they will be kickstarting this tarot deck as part of that. The second thing is that one thing I look forward to doing this following Zemo is, well, I don't have a project myself, as much as I would like to. I do plan on providing artwork. So if anybody is interested in commissions or anything like that, if I have the time, I'm more than happy to do that. But I will also be releasing a lot of art free to use, in addition to some of the art that I already have on my itch page. And then I guess the last one is just, for lack of a better term, be good to each other. And I'm glad that this has like taken off as much as it has. And I very much look forward to seeing what everybody makes this year.
So if y'all have more questions or things like that, the Zemo server is going to be the best place. I'll make sure it's linked in the show notes. I already may have made sure it was linked to the show notes. I'm pretty sure I did. If I didn't, then whoopsie. If you ever thought like, hey, what if Zine Month, but every month in my mailbox, you check out RPGZine.Club. It helps support us, or this weird backer kit project we're running for $100 because we had to have a project. A great place to support us. But Sooty Beards, we're going to have for that team coming out. We're going to be supporting Salt the Earth by Quinn Blackwell, who's an amazing creator. Keegan's doing their first Kickstarter also, too. So we've got a bunch of internal projects that we're going to be supporting and probably a couple more coming up. That's going to be a lot of things we're really excited about. But here's the deal. Zine Month, find out what you're excited about. Go support a couple of the other creators. Find ways to cross-promote and support each other and share the wisdom of what you're experiencing. Making games is a lot of fun. It does not have to dominate your life because you know what's more fun than making games is playing games. So make sure you get a chance to do some of that this month also. If there's anything else we can do for you over at Plus One Exp, please reach out at Plus One Exp across all social media channels. And have a happy Zemo, everybody. Huzzah!
Huzzah. Praise be the Zine Moth.